Welcome back, everyone, to Radiant Resilience. I have my very best friend with me today, Bekki Roy. I'm so excited for this conversation, which I was just making fun of myself before we hit record because I just keep saying that, but it's true, and I don't really know how else to describe my conversations on here. So, welcome, Bekki. How are you today?
I'm doing great, Tawny.
Yeah, thanks so much for coming on here and doing this. We're going to just kind of have a pretty casual-ish conversation today. I don't really know exactly where it's going to go, but yeah, I don't know. I've just been really wanting to explore the idea of having just some conversations with my friends on here because those have been the episodes I've enjoyed the most. So, Bekki, why don't you give us a little bit of background about you since you've never been on here before? Just a mild background, and then we can talk about how we met, probably.
Okay.
So, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm born and raised in Massachusetts. I come from a family of 4. I have a twin sister and 2 older brothers. I went to college for a few years and studied criminal justice before I decided that was not for me and I wanted to be a hairdresser. And then went to school for hair, and I've been doing that ever since. I now live near Cape Cod with my husband and my 18-year-old daughter. And yeah, Tawny and I met in a hairstylist group.
Yeah, it was super... back. And it was pretty random. Like,
yeah,
me and one of my other friends, or our other friends, were going to breakfast. We were there early at this event, and I think Kelsey put out a text that was like, if anybody else is here and wants to join us, and Bekki was the only one that joined us. And then the rest is history. We've been like super close ever since. So I'm so excited. I'm going to visit her here in a month or so.
Yay. We're gonna have so much fun at the beach, Tawny. It's gonna be great.
I can't wait. That is my happy place. The beach. I don't know why I was born in the mountains.
Yeah, you were born in the wrong place, girl.
I was born in the wrong place. I needed to be born near a beach. So
you're fully like a water beach person.
Yes.
It's so funny to me that you're like landlocked over there.
Totally landlocked. We do have some, well, I'm not going to call them lakes. They're reservoirs, but that's the closest to lakes we get.
That's not quite the same. I could never be like 30 minutes from the ocean anymore. I'm so spoiled growing up over here that I could never do it.
I think probably California is the closest flight.
Yeah. I would not, I could not survive like that. I can't do it. I've always said I don't know how people do it in the middle of the country. Like, I need an ocean nearby.
How often do you go to the beach in the summer?
In the summer? Multiple times a week.
You go in the winter too?
I go sometimes in the winter, just if it's not like winter, right? So I'll go like shoulder season. So like I went one day in this like early spring. We had like one random day that was like 60 something degrees that I was like, I'm gonna go to the beach, and like went and took a walk on the beach and then just like sat there for a while and looked at the water and just enjoyed myself. Yeah, so I'll do that during like the semi off season. So I'll go for a walk, or I'll just like take a drive and just sit out there and like look at the ocean, and makes me happy.
I just always picture the Northeast as freezing as fuck in the winter time.
It is, but you like get so used to the colds that when there's a day that's like over 50 degrees, it feels like summer, and you're like, let's do it, you know?
Yeah, that's fair. I think, we don't get as cold here, I think, in the winter, but when we do have those like 60-degree days in winter, it's like so nice.
Yes, exactly. You know, it's because like you're coming out of like 20 degrees for days and suddenly it's 60 degrees. That spring feels like amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. But then in the summertime, 60 degrees is freezing to me. So
yes, exactly. It's all in what your body gets adjusted to. It's wild how that happens.
Yeah. The other day, Colin was like, it's going to be 59. And I'm like, that's cold. And he was like, what?
I always say that too. And I'm like, I know if this had happened in January, I would have been like at the beach in a sweatshirt, but now I'm freezing.
Yep. It's all relative, right?
Yep. It's still weird to me, like, in my head, I always pictured Colorado as being this, like, freezing cold tundra of winter. Yeah. So, like, when you text me or message me in the winter and it's, like, 70 degrees, I'm like, how is that possible? Like, how am I colder in Massachusetts?
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, I think in the mountains, there's a lot more snow, there's a lot more colder temperatures. But in the cities, I mean, yeah, even in the summertime, we have had low 100-degree temperatures before. That's a little less common. We definitely get into the low 90s for sure. So
yeah, in my head I just pictured it very differently. I don't know why. I guess like when you don't go somewhere, right, and you don't grow up there, you just have this image in your head from like what you've heard and seen from like TV, books, whatever, And
Yeah.
that like just sticks with you. And everything about Colorado was always about the mountains. So that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Well, I mean, yeah. And you came to visit in
Yeah.
October and it
Yeah.
was pretty nice.
It was pretty nice for October. Yeah, it was great. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was beautiful
Um,
weather.
so I obviously have been doing a lot of talking about menopause and hormones on here.
Hmm.
And I know you and I have talked a little bit about some of that stuff. So you're a little bit older than I am, a couple more
Yes.
years.
Yeah, I'm 46. So
But you're just kind of starting on that journey too, yeah?
I think I'd been in perimenopause for probably 5 years and didn't like officially know it, right? So at first
Hmm.
I kind of suspected, but my initial doctor that I was seeing like totally blew me off when I brought it up to her, when I broached the subject with her.
Mm.
Because I was like starting to have some weird things happen, and I was like, is it possible that I'm in like perimenopause? And she was like, you're way too young for that. And then I like went and looked up and like read some books and did some stuff, and I was like, I'm like prime age for that. At the time I asked her, I was like, so anyway, I have a new doctor now that's much better versed in this kind of thing, partially
Isn't
for
it
that reason.
amazing? Like my last episode I just put out was a solo episode and I talked a lot about the lack of knowledge in
Yes,
some of this. I mean, just women's health in general, right? Which is infuriating. And I know we could probably do a whole episode on
I
that.
could go
But
on a
like,
tangent about that. Yes, absolutely.
just baffled at the lack of knowledge in doctors sometimes. Like, this is your profession. And I realized, like, for me, that first doctor that I went to was just a primary care.
Hmm.
He wasn't even like an OBGYN. He wasn't even a woman. He wasn't like, and then he's just immediately telling me I'm in perimenopause and wanting to put me on birth control. And then the next doctor I see is like the hormone doctor and is like, no, you're not in perimenopause, but your
Hold off, let's
testosterone doesn't
maybe look
exist.
at some stuff. Yeah. It's wild to me. Like, well, and I talked to after I left that practice. That practice ended up closing down anyway, shortly after I left. But I talked to one of the other doctors from that practice because she happens to be a client salon I work at, and I was chatting with her about it, and she's like, "We get absolutely no training on menopause. Like, she's like nothing in medical school. She's like, we maybe get a day of talking about menopause, and that's it. She goes, we just don't know." She goes, and she's like, you're right, it sucks, it's awful, because she's a woman too. So she's like, but they literally don't give us any training on that. And that to me is like a huge deficit in training for doctors, especially for doctors looking to go into OB/GYN. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
they
I
should,
mean,
because they're primarily dealing with women and women's issues. Like, shouldn't they be more well versed in this versus?
and what I've found now too is that all of the like hormone clinic places are like individually owned and don't take health insurance at
Yeah,
all.
they're all like private. Yeah.
Yeah, they're not even like doctors' offices. I mean, they may have a doctor that they consult about people's results and stuff like that, but like it's weird. It's like a separate business altogether. How
Well,
is
they
there
almost
not Go
like
ahead.
what oversight is there for that too, though, if that's the case, you know? So I'm concerned a little bit about how all these private hormone clinics are popping up, which is good that there's something available, but like, how do you, I can't think of the word right now, but how do you like make sure that the people you're talking to at these clinics actually know what they're talking about and aren't just like,
Well,
let's open
and
a
like
clinic, you know?
yeah, and to be honest, I mean the hormone place I went to, their main deal is the testosterone shots. And then if you need progesterone and estrogen, then those are like add-ons. And then I thought it was interesting that the blood work that they did, the only thing that came back was that my testosterone didn't exist.
Right. Especially when they're a testosterone clinic. That's when you start wondering, right? It's like, well, is my testosterone really that low, or are you trying to sell me testosterone?
Right. And that was a little bit, I mean, I don't want to accuse anybody of like lying and making shit up because I don't know that for a fact, but that was kind of weird.
But it makes you hesitate and question, and then you don't have the confidence in the people that you probably should, because who knows, there's no like regulation or like oversight for these clinics that are popping up. It's wild to me.
Yeah, and it sucks that like for med school people too, it like that's not an area that they can really specialize in. Even if they want to do like the only women's health area is OBGYN, right? And then they're getting 1 day on menopause in school.
Yes.
Like,
I was like mind blown when she told me that. I was like, I can't even. But it makes sense, right? Because as a society, we tend to care about women up until the point that they can bear children and reproduce, and then we don't care about them when they can't do that anymore.
yeah.
As a society, and as sad as that is, that's kind of a fact, right? Like, we care
Yeah.
a lot less about women once they're past childbearing age, because
so
we
true.
want women to pop out babies, And once they are no longer capable of that, it's like, we're all right with, we don't need you anymore.
Yeah, and I think it's so sad. And I think part of the reason that like the birth control was suggested to me too was because it was the cheaper option,
Yes.
right? And is usually covered by health insurance, where those testosterone shots were not, because the health insurance companies don't think that women need testosterone. So they're not going to pay for it because they know better than the doctors.
Which,
right?
Again, that's a whole other issue, right? Is like, why are administrators in an insurance company determining healthcare? Like,
Right.
your healthcare and what you need for tests, for medication, for any of those things should be solely determined between you and your doctor. And the administrator should have nothing to do with it. And they've taken such a huge role in that it's at a deficit to our actual healthcare, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because like, how many times do you have like a medication? Like, well, insurance won't cover that, even though that's what the doctor prescribed. But they'll cover this one, so we're going to give you this one instead. It's like, well, did someone consult my doctor about that? Or are you just willy-nilly like swapping out prescriptions because it works better for you?
Yeah. Yeah, it's wild. And like, I had a friend who worked at a pharmacy, and the things that she told me about how much some of these medications cost that these people are trying to come get. And like, she tries her best to, get the cheapest option, but she has no control over that. And she said it was just, it's heartbreaking when you're trying to give somebody medication for their kid that they need to stay alive and function on a daily basis. And it's, thousands upon thousands of dollars.
Mm-hmm. Well, even look at like EpiPens we were just talking about the other day, because you went to go get your EpiPens filled. I'm like, my daughter needs to carry EpiPens, so I've been going through that since she was, for like 10 years we've been dealing with this. Like, the cost of EpiPens is astronomical.
And they said that they were supposed to go down once they like were able to have generic versions, and I don't think they have.
No, they haven't, because you said they were 200 and something, and that's what they were years ago. A couple of years ago when I went to get her new ones, because hers had expired.
Yeah.
It was about 260, I think, is what they were.
Yeah, it was just under 300 for the set. But my doctor said he also wrote the script for a generic one. So I'm like, I don't know. I sent Colin to go pick him up, and he didn't ask any questions, so I need to talk to his pharmacy still. But even still, like, he was picking up an antibiotic for me at the same time, and that was $4. But my EpiPens were $300.
Exactly. Yep. It's like EpiPens, insulin, like those kinds of things are just insane.
Yeah.
Like, the cost of them is just ridiculous.
Yeah. It's so sad. Yeah. I don't know. I always think that we've come so far in our medical society. And I think that we have. Like, medical science has come a long way for sure from what it was, 50 years ago. But there are always still so many limitations, and I'm always shocked. And especially with women.
Yes. Well, when you think about like a majority of like health studies that have been conducted up into a certain point and up until very recent history, most of them are conducted on men and on white men too. So there's like a racial hint to that too, that ends up being a problem across the board. So not just women, but also like it becomes an issue for people of color and different ethnicities too, because all of the medical studies that we've done have been based off of white men. So we've learned more recently that like women's bodies don't react the same. Certain ethnicities are prone to different diseases and react differently. So like the fact that we weren't studying that across the board and broadly looking at that is crazy. Even like looking at like crash tests, like they were always done on men, right? For up until, again, more recent history when they started like using women too. But all of the crash test dummies were designed on men's bodies. So like all of that, even all of that safety data was based off of the man, right?
Yeah.
It's nuts like how much of everything across society is skewed by that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm glad that there are changes being made in that, but we have a long ways to go.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's wild. And at least now, like with the menopause piece, there are more studies being done, and it's finally being looked at more comprehensively than it's ever been looked at before. So I think for like the generations coming, it's going to get much better. Like for like my daughter's generation and like grandkids' generation, you know what I mean? Like it will be better eventually. But for us now, we're kind of in like that in the middle sort of gap that we're going to kind of fall through the cracks a little bit as they're trying to figure it out. Or we'll be the ones kind of on the experimental edge of it while they're trying to figure this stuff out.
I think that women started talking about it more too. I think that we finally have been like, hi, pay attention to me.
We need help. Yeah. And I think part of it is too, some of the female doctors started getting to that age themselves and started to go through perimenopause. And then their patients were going through it. And that's when they were like, wait a minute, we've got to do better than this. And I think that helped spur it too. So I think a lot of those doctors that were in place to start pushing for more change have helped.
Yeah. So you did start doing some HRT stuff, yeah?
Yeah, so not like traditional like hormone replacement therapy. I only have one that I'm doing that's for like a very specific like issue with dryness that's happening. So I'm doing that one now, but I'm not doing like a patch or a pill or any of those kinds of things yet. We're sort of
Okay.
starting slow and
Yeah.
starting to see like how we're starting first like treating like some of the individual symptoms I'm having and trying
I
to
mean,
work through those.
that's how that should go too, right?
I think
Like, don't
so.
just throw a general thing at me that you throw at
Right.
everybody. Like, I just like, I don't know, target the issues that I'm having currently and we'll go
Yes.
forward from there
And
because
move
it's gonna
forward.
get worse.
Exactly. And I like that. And my doctor's good too about taking the approach of like, is there anything we can do holistically first before we start
Hmm.
throwing medications at this? And I'm
Yeah.
always a proponent of going that route first and then adding medication to supplement.
Yeah.
So I'd rather take a supplement or like shift my like diet and nutrition to try and make some changes. So I like
Yeah.
to take those approaches first.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's worth exploring. It doesn't hurt to explore those first. And then if they don't work, then you
Yeah,
can go
exactly.
the medication route. So,
Right.
man, it's not
Yeah, it's
fair
been
being a woman in
it'll
this
be a
world.
journey over the next few years, that's for sure. But so far, it's been going. It's better now that I feel like I have a doctor who's paying attention, who's actually taking me seriously about what's going
Yes.
on, addressing
Yeah.
the issue
Yeah.
versus
Well, and
like
you're
too young.
that's the other frustrating thing is like, I don't know, why is it hard to find a doctor to take you
Yeah,
seriously and do it the right way? And I feel like then a lot of the holistic route also is not covered by health insurance. Like I have so
yeah,
many clients that are working with what like functional medicine doctors
hmm
and they're not covered by
right.
insurance. So you have to pay a fortune out of pocket.
Yeah, yeah, it's
So,
wild. I don't understand why we like push some of the alternative like medicines, and look at them in such a light where like they're not real medicine, right? Like I don't understand. Like even something as simple as like a chiropractor. I remember years ago I was going to a chiropractor for my back, and it was barely covered by insurance, and so many people their insurance still doesn't cover it. And I'm like, it's so hugely helpful and prevents you having to go for something more expensive down the road that I don't understand why therapies like that or even like acupuncture are so like still not fully completely covered by insurance when they should be, I think.
they can't make as much money on that stuff, I think.
True. For true.
I don't know. I mean, yeah, I even like I was listening to a podcast where so like mammograms they don't cover until you're 40. And this podcast was saying that a lot of women so breast cancer is very treatable nowadays
Mm-hmm.
if you catch it early, right?
Yes.
Obviously. But it's very treatable these days. And a lot of the women who are dying from breast cancer are getting it in their 20s and 30s
They're
and it's
younger now.
being missed because you're not getting a
No one's
mammogram.
screening for it. Hmm.
Yeah.
And
And I
honestly,
don't,
no one even talks to 20 and 30-year-olds about like even doing like self breast exams and things like that because they're too young, right? They're too
yeah.
young. It's that piece again.
Yeah, but like as an insurance company, like wouldn't you want to pay for that portion versus paying for chemo?
Right, exactly. That and
I don't
aren't we
know.
all in the goal of keeping people healthy? So
Yeah.
if
I
that's
think
really
all
the
the
goal, then
preventative tests should be covered,
yes. And it shouldn't
including
be
the
age
big one.
restrictive because especially for women who are in their 20s and 30s who have like family history of breast cancer,
Hmm.
especially for them it should be covered earlier and they should be getting screened earlier, you
Yeah.
know, because
And
then you're more likely to see a problem.
I think that has changed. Like if you test for that genetic piece of it then
Yeah.
and that comes back positive or it is in your family close by, I think you're more likely to get them earlier, but
Yeah.
still, you have to prove it.
Yeah.
You can't just go in and say, "Hey, can I do a mammogram just to make sure I'm good?"
Right. Well, and then like I get annoyed with even the mammogram piece honestly because I feel like there should be better screening procedures than a mammogram at this point,
Well, yeah, that's what
right?
I've heard too, that they're actually that same podcast said that and I can't remember if it was a CT scan or some other scan is actually more effective for finding it because especially for women who have the dense breast tissue.
Yes. As someone who has that and has gone for mammograms, only to have them say, we need you to come back. And then they have to do another mammogram and then they have to do an ultrasound just to confirm, oh, yeah, it's just dense tissue. It's like, well,
Mm,
is there a better way we could be screening for people then? Because clearly the mammogram is not effective for all women.
yeah.
So, and I still maintain that if a man had to get squished inside of a machine like a mammogram to get screened for testicular cancer, we would have a better method for screening for mammogram for breast cancer.
Yeah.
Mammograms would not exist.
Yeah, because God forbid their balls get squished.
Exactly. That would never be a thing. We would have reinvented this and fixed it years ago. Yeah, I feel like it's not the most effective and it's super uncomfortable. So why have we not come up with something better? Like all of the advances that we've made and we're still doing mammograms.
Yeah, crazy.
Wild to me.
Yeah, I could go on about the medical system. I have on this podcast so many times about health insurance. I mean, I've had so many people on here who have talked about being gaslit by their doctors, not like listened to, given the wrong treatments. Like it's crazy.
It's crazy how much you have to like advocate for yourself nowadays.
Yes.
Like I'm fortunate I was able to track down a doctor in my area who is more specifically attuned to like menopause care.
Yeah.
And find someone who could address it appropriately. But like not everybody has that option or even knows that like someone who specializes in that exists, you know?
Yeah. Oy vey. Well, we could go on on that topic.
Yeah, we'll let that one go because that's going to be like beating a dead horse, you know?
How have you been feeling with just life in general lately?
Very overwhelmed. Like very overwhelmed and busy, which I mean is a good thing to be busy, right? But then it just gets overwhelming sometimes. I feel like all of the like normal life stuff is getting like pushed aside right now and not getting taken care of. Like my house is a hot mess. I need to mow my lawn. Even like the person who came to spray my house this morning, because I have like a biannual spray for like pests and stuff on my house. And she came to spray today and she's like, just so you know, it's better for ticks and things if your grass is only like, if you don't let your grass go above 2 inches. I was like, I know. I was like, I feel like I'm being shamed right now for not mowing my grass. I was like, I'm going to do it, I promise. But yeah, too many things to do, not enough time. Definitely in that kind of a realm right now.
I know. I'm kind of sad we live in that kind of society that's just like, go, 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 go. Like, it's exhausting.
Yeah. Yes, it is. It is. Well, I feel like springtime especially, like at least for here, I don't know it's like different in other parts of the country, but springtime here in New England, there is so much to do when you own a house because it's like all of the like recovery from winter, getting set up for the spring. There's like, you've got to like clean up all your yard from all the like branches and stuff that came down during all the winter storms. Then it's like you have to mow, you have to weed out your gardens, you have to like redo mulch if you do mulch. You know what I mean? There's just like so many things. If you're going to plant a garden, you've got to get your garden planted, you know?
Yeah.
There's just so much all in this one little time of year that needs to get done that it gets to be a lot.
And you have a pool too, right?
So we have a pool, which we haven't even been able to open yet because it rained all Memorial Day weekend. So I think except for the one day I worked. Yeah. So that's still sitting covered back there.
You've been absolutely insane at work, which is a good thing and a bad thing, right?
Yes, it is. It's good and bad, right? You know.
I know. It's so hard in our industry because I spent the last year, like, as you know, trying to like get busier and busier and busier. And I'm like, I'm so frustrated I'm not busy. And now I'm finally coming into that. I mean, I'm not as busy as you are where I'm booked 6 weeks out, but like I'm starting to get to that point and then I'm like, it's coming.
Well, it's like we're constantly in this cycle of like building to get busy. Like we want to be busy and then it almost like goes too far and we get too busy and then we're trying to like rein it back. And it's so hard to like find that sweet spot and stay in that sweet spot. It's a constant cycle through it between being like busy enough that you're comfortable and you feel good, but not so busy that you're like bursting at the seams and doing like I do and working beyond my normal scheduled hours and paying for that by just being exhausted and not getting anything done.
Hairdressers, people pleasers.
Probably it's probably part of why we get into the industry, right? We want to, because most of us, if you ask us why we do this, it's because we love to make people happy and make people feel good about themselves, right? So I think that leads into the people pleasing. That, and I think for us too, like I think it's different for us versus like a doctor, right? Because we build like a personal relationship with our clients. It's not just like patient number 500. You know what I mean? Like we have very personal relationships with our clients. So like we want to make them happy. We want to take care of them. Like,
yeah. I mean, I don't know that all of them understand how much we love them.
No, some of them I think do. Some of them have no idea how much like we behind the scenes like think about them and
yeah, I've frequently been surprised throughout my career at how easy it is, or how easy it seems for some people to just drop me.
Yeah.
And how devastating that is for me.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if people
Yeah.
understand that. I haven't talked to enough non-hairdressers to understand that.
Yeah, that is one. I'm like kind of I feel like I'm kind of in the middle, right? Because I've definitely had some people leave me that like didn't hurt as much. I was just like, I get it, you know, like you at some point you have to like learn that it's a business and it's not always going to work out for everyone and you can't please everybody. So you're not always going to be like the hairstylist for every person out there. Like, and then I've had other people who've left me and that like wrecked me that I was like devastated by for a while. And like it took me a while to get over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like, well, I mean, it's the ones you don't see coming, right? Like you
Yes.
said, the ones that like you can feel it. We know this isn't really working,
Yeah.
on both sides, and you're like, yeah, I wasn't surprised that that person moved
Yeah.
on. But every once in a while, you get those
The
massive blows
blindside
of
you.
ones that you had no idea, and then you may never even know why.
Yeah. That's the hardest piece for me is the never knowing why.
Yeah.
Like I wish people felt more comfortable like just being honest and telling you why.
Yeah.
But I know people like don't want to hurt your feelings and like, they're trying to be nice but how do you fix the problem if you don't know there's a problem?
Exactly. That's what I've tried to
Right?
explain to people. I'm like, I want to make this better. And like, I also respect your choice to move on to
Mm-hmm.
someone else, but like, I can't better myself in my business if I don't know what I did,
Yeah.
So,
And sometimes, honestly, it's just personality. I don't even think it's something we necessarily did or didn't achieve
sure.
as far as their hair. Sometimes it's just like a personality issue where like you just don't mesh. And if you're going to spend like an hour to 3 hours with somebody, right?
Yeah.
You want it to be someone you actually like enjoy kind of hanging out with and talking to for a while.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I feel like a lot of my clients, I mean, not as many of the newer ones, but especially my older ones that followed me down to the Springs. I mean, I'm super close with all of them now. And because I think that showed an extra bit of loyalty from them to follow me and make that drive and everything.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man, I've had some doozies in the past that just wrecked me. So,
Yeah.
just for anyone listening who's not a hairdresser, we love you. And
Yes.
please give us feedback
Please
if
tell
you
your
leave.
hairdresser why you're leaving.
I know that's a hard thing to do. I really
It
understand that. But
is.
like,
It is.
if it's something practical like money or
Yes.
I ran late or I don't know, something
Or even
like
just like
that.
our schedules don't align anymore.
Right.
Like sometimes that's what it is, right?
Yeah. Or maybe you had a friend in the family that started doing hair or, things like that. Those are a lot easier to tell me, I would think, than if I did something wrong. I understand that's a little bit harder to tell me, but again, I can't. Also, if I screwed up your haircut or color, I can't fix it if I didn't know. So, like if you tell me, then I can work on bettering my skills in that regard too. So,
Yes, exactly.
give your hairdressers feedback, even if it's scary.
Yeah, we love it. We like feedback.
Well, most of us do, I guess.
Well, it's true. That's true.
The circles you and I run into.
I was just about to say that. I was like, you and I forget sometimes that we run in like very specific circles of hairdressers, of like high achievers who like wanna like build a big, beautiful business and do all the things, and that we are sometimes on a different level than other hairstylists that are out there.
Yeah,
And we forget sometimes that not everybody thinks the way we do about all of this stuff.
Yeah, because we've just like surrounded ourselves by these types of hairdressers. And yeah, I totally forget a lot of the time that like we're not normal, I don't think.
Yeah.
But there seems to be a lot of us. So I don't know.
always think so too. And then I'm like astounded when like I have somebody new who like will come in and they'll like be like, oh my God, no one's ever done this or like this thing for me before. No one's ever like, I've never had this happen at a salon before. And I'm like, how are more people not doing this? I feel like everybody's doing this. But I think it's like, we feel like everybody's doing this because all the sort of stylists around us are doing it. All the ones that we talk to and like network with are doing it, but not all the ones physically in our area are doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's interesting.
So on the note of professional overwhelm, has your definition of success or happiness changed over the years?
Well, absolutely. Yeah, 100%. Years ago, like when I first started doing hair and I've been doing hair for like 25 years. It's been a long time. So when I think for that, when I first started out, it was always like, you define success by having a big, giant, full book of people, right? That was success. I've learned as I've gotten further on in my career that that's not necessarily the idea of success. For me, success now, as far as like professionally is concerned, is having a good work-life balance, a better balance of that. And having not just a book full of clients, but a book full of clients that I actually enjoy working with and doing the types of hair that I really want to be doing, instead of just taking anybody and everybody. Like when I first started doing hair, specializing was not a thing. Like you just did everything.
Yeah. Same.
And you took anybody who walked in the door because you were grateful you had a client in your chair, right? And not to say we're not grateful for our clients now, but to me, success now is more gauged by like, how fulfilled am I from my work? And do I have a good balance of like, I'm working, but I also have time to enjoy my personal life, time with my daughter, my husband, those things.
Yeah. And I mean, has it changed? Like, you know, I think the American idea of success too is to become like the next Jeff Bezos, or, you know, like is to be, you know, making as much money as possible, build this giant, ridiculous business and have all this money. And, you know, I don't know. I think my perspective on success has changed just even in my personal life, like not even professionally. And I don't think I fully know what that looks like still, but
yeah,
you know, the
I think it's
midlife.
ever changing, right?
Yeah, that's true.
As you grow as a human being, your idea of what success means to you changes with that.
Yeah, like have you talked about with Dave like how much longer you want to be doing this job and stuff like that? Like have you, because now we're getting, you know, you're into your 40s, I'm getting close to 40s. We've been doing this job for that many years. My body is breaking down from it for sure. So I don't know, have you guys talked about what that looks like at all?
Not actually. So well, yes and no, right? So I haven't really considered when I'm going to stop doing hair. I have learned as I've gotten older that I need to be better at taking care of my body. So I'm much better at, like, I do regular massages now. Like I work out, I try to work out in ways that support what I do for a living instead of just doing random workouts, right? So building like shoulder strength, stability, like those kinds of things so that I can work for longer and also adjust and sort of shift my business around so I'm not working like I did back when I was in my 20s, working 10-hour days, double booked all day. Like I don't do that anymore because like my body doesn't. If I want to continue to do hair for another like 20 years, right? I can't do that if I'm working like that. I'll be lucky if I get another 5, right? So making shifts like that to extend the time I can do it. Dave has been pushing me to open my own salon for a couple of years now because he thinks that would be a good way for me to have kind of an exit strategy, right? Whereas like I could still do hair for as long as I wanted to, but then when I was done, I still had this business that was generating income, but wasn't me physically behind the chair anymore. Yeah. But I've been very resistant to that.
I have zero desire for that.
Yeah. I've been very resistant to taking on employees and doing all of that.
Yeah, I mean, that's a whole different level of work in itself. And
it is.
You know, I don't know how Massachusetts works, but, you know, here the booth rental, suite rental has become the most popular. And so then, like, to be a salon owner and make money, and especially make enough money to replace your income behind the chair, is almost impossible unless you're doing like an hourly or a commission-based salon. And then that's a lot more work than just dealing with renters.
Right. And that's what I kind of look at. I see that happening. So, you know, we network with a lot of other hairstylist salon owners, and I see the struggle as a salon owner now to actually run a profitable salon to where you don't actually have to be working behind the chair, still working in the salon, but not behind the chair, and how much work and energy and effort goes into that. And I'm like, I don't think I have the bandwidth for that. Definitely not right now. And I don't know that I want to I don't want to say work that hard because I definitely work hard in what I do now, but I don't know that I want to put that kind of effort in to something that like might make me some more money. You know what I mean? But like, I don't know. I don't feel like the payoff is there for me yet to want to.
Yeah. And I mean, the investment in that too.
Yeah. And I don't think Dave fully understands like the amount of time and energy that's going to go into something like that. Like even just the thought of taking on an assistant, because I toyed with that for a little while. And even that was like going to be a lot because of all of like the different things you've got to take on. Like now you got to take on payroll, right? You've got to take on paying of taxes and unemployment and all these other things. And in not even just the state I work in, but the city I work in, like the tax structure for small businesses there is like brutal.
Yeah.
Like there's just so much involved, and you end up paying so much money out to the city and the state that it's wild. That I'm like, if I could avoid that, I'd be happy.
Ugh.
And then like the other piece of that too in my area is that rents and like commercial real estate is insanely expensive around here. It's real hard to find like reasonably priced things.
Yeah. So then you have to at least cover that portion of it.
Yes. Yes.
Man. Yeah. I don't know.
A lot of like good affordable space out there.
I've said for so long I have no desire to do that. But, you know, I applaud people who want to do that. Like,
yes.
Because it is so much work. So,
yeah.
But
yeah, it's an incredible amount of work.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, it's so hard, right? I think that's where midlife crises end up happening, because you look back and you're like, what have I done? I've wasted all this time working and whatever. And, you know, 20 years from now, like, what does it look like? And I don't know the answer to this, but what does it look like to look back on your life and say you had a successful life? And I think, you know, I guess the balance, like you said, of work-life balance. So you don't look back and go, all I ever did was work.
Yes. I don't ever want to be that person where like I missed my daughter, like time with my daughter and my family because I was working so much. Like I've never wanted that to be a thing. And when she was little, that was a thing. That was a problem. I worked in a commission salon, and that was back when I was doing those like 10-hour days, working double booked all day and working every single Saturday and doing all those things. And I missed time that I can't get back. And I finally got to a point where I was like, I'm not missing any more of this. Yeah.
And she just went off to college recently.
She did.
She's almost done with her first year.
First year's over. Yeah, she's home now. So first year's under her belt. She did amazing. Made some friends. She came out with like I think 3.7 GPA. Like she did great. That was a very successful first year, I'd say, for her.
And
very difficult for me.
Yeah, I was gonna say, do you want to talk about?
The first couple of months were rough. I'm not gonna lie. Like, because her and I are very close. We do a lot together. We talk a lot. Like, we just have a very good relationship as far as that's concerned. I know it's not true of all, like, moms of daughters. But her and I have a very good, close relationship. And, like, having her missing for those first couple months was very difficult. I, like, didn't know what to do with myself. Sometimes it was very sad. But it got easier. As the year got on, it got a little easier. Every time she came home and then went back, it got a little easier to adjust back to that. But it's like I needed, like, a whole new routine.
Yeah, I'm sure.
You know?
Yeah.
So it was wild.
But you feel better about it now?
Yeah. Yeah. I feel much better about it now. I think she does too.
Yeah.
She seemed to adjust better going back in for second semester than she did for the first. So.
Yeah. Yeah, that's hard, man. When you've been a parent for so long and then you send them out and now they're not in your house and you're like, okay, now what?
No, it's a lot of like checking on my phone to see where she is. Like.
Yeah.
For like the first month, every night before I went to bed, I would check and make sure she was back in her dorm room. So I was like, I just need to know she's in her dorm room. If she wasn't there, I'd stay awake until she got back to her dorm room. And I'm like, once I know she's there and safe, I'm good. I can go to sleep.
Yeah, well, and she's a good kid too. So I don't think she was out doing anything too crazy, even if she was not back in her.
No, there was only a couple of times that I was like, where on earth is she? Because she is not on campus right now. But
no. Would you text her then and be like, where are you?
No, I just waited out and make sure she got back. And then eventually, she tells me just about everything anyway. So she would eventually tell me they went to a party or they went to do whatever.
Yeah.
So.
But you were stressed in that moment.
But I was definitely like, because I've always been that mom who, like, if she's out, I can't go to sleep until she's home. Mm-hmm. So I would, like, sit up and wait for her to get home. And then I'd be like, okay, I can go to bed now. Like, even if, she's out with her friends and I knew she was, like, cool doing her thing, I think it's just, you just need to know that they're safe before you can, like, rest and go to sleep. So that was my version of doing that while she was away at college. I needed to just know she was in her dorm building and then I'd be like, she's okay.
That's funny. Well, I'm glad that it got better for you guys.
It did, yeah.
But I know that was quite the adjustment and pretty hard. And I think it's hard for a lot of people. So
yeah, that's always a tough one. Yeah, it's nice having her back home for the summer. Yeah. Though our work schedules are turning out to be very opposite each other, which is a little bit of a bummer. So
let's see. I'm looking at my questions. So I guess along the lines of hairdresser world. Mm-hmm. This is kind of a deep one. Who are you outside of what you provide for other people?
Meaning, what do you mean?
I don't know. It just seemed like a really good, deep question. Like, I don't know, because I think, again, along the lines of working and doing people's hair and people pleasing and all of that stuff. And, you're a mom and a wife
Yeah.
and things like that. So, like, do you know who you are outside of that?
No idea. No idea. Dude, I have no idea. I'm gonna be so honest. Not a clue.
I
Like,
mean,
so much of like my life is just wrapped up in like taking care of other people. Like,
yeah.
I'm not in a bad way, you know what I mean? Like, I enjoy doing things to take care of like my husband, my daughter, my clients, stuff like that. But like, that's so much of where I'm at in my life right now. And I feel like throughout your life, that kind of like phases and changes, right? Like, different
Yeah.
times you're more focused like inward on yourself, and other times you're more focused on like the people around you. So that kind of shifts and changes. But like, I wouldn't even know how to begin to tell you who I am at this point, you know?
Well, and like I said, I think we're at that age where that's where you start questioning a lot of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Having the identity crisis and being like, because, in your 20s and your 30s, you're just like, I have so much life to live, there's so much, you're not really, and then you're busy with raising kids, or you're busy with building a business, or whatever you're doing. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, shit. So, and I think that too, probably the empty nester stuff definitely creates a bit of an identity crisis too, because you've done your job for the most part,
right.
I mean, you still have
if
to
you've
go
done it
through
right,
college,
then they don't need you as much. Yeah. If you've kind of done it right, then they don't need you as much. And
but then
you have
you've
this
done
like, little like gap in your life. But fortunately for me with work, I've been able to kind of fill that up with, I just kind of shifted focus back into work and was like, what can I do here to spend more time and energy in this piece of my life now that I have this extra time?
And
which has led to me being overwhelmed at work.
I was just gonna say your business is thriving, but
because I spent like all the time she was at school, I was like, well, let's dive into some work stuff because now I have all this extra time.
Yeah.
And then for the summer, that may pull back a little bit now that she's home,
Yeah, which is fine. You're allowed to take a few months break of the, behind the scenes stuff. Obviously, you still have to go in on your schedule, but
I'll have a month's break. I'll have June, because then in July I start that mastermind that I joined. So I'm going to be jumping in on that in July. I think July 1st that starts. So I'll be diving back into more work stuff.
Yeah. All right. Well, since we're getting close to the end, let's have our book conversation that I've officially added to the end of every podcast episode.
I love book conversations.
So do I. Shocker. All right. So Bekki and I both just finished Silver Elite and Broken Dove, right?
So good. Highly recommend.
I think I raved about
until
it.
the third book's out, because I hate a series that isn't finished. And I read Silver Elite not knowing it was a series. I thought it was like a one-off. And then was pissed at the end when I found out there was going to be another book, and I had to wait like a year for it to come out. And then read Broken Dove and was pissed again because I thought it was only supposed to be 2 books. And we learned at the end that it's not going to be 2 books.
I chat GPT'd it too, because I was like, is this supposed to be? I had heard it was going to be a duology. And then ChatGPT gave me a really weird answer that was like, well, it was supposed to be a duology, but they might have set up. Go ahead.
I said then the girl changed her mind and decided she was doing another one.
Yeah, but it was so good. This was really right before that I had read Direbound and Furybound, and that also is going to be a trilogy. Only 2 books are out. Book 2 was not nearly as good as book 1. Where in this one, I thought book 2 was actually better than book 1.
I thought so too. I agree 100%. Book 2 was better than book 1, and book 1 was really good. Book 2 was fantastic. The only thing I wish in book 2 was I wish there had been a little more back and forth between her perspective and Cross's perspective, because they did it a little bit at the beginning of the book, where you had a chapter of one, a chapter of the other, and then all of a sudden he disappeared for a while, and we didn't know what was going on with him until the very end of the book. Yeah, so I'm hoping the next book is going to start back on his perspective, and we're going to get that gap of what happened to him during that time.
Yeah, that would be great. I definitely
I'm hoping for with the third book.
Yeah, or maybe we'll get a side book that's this book from his perspective.
One of those little novella mini ones. Yeah, that would be nice to get a little hit of that in between before the next book comes up.
Yeah, my friend and I were talking yesterday about how annoying those little novellas are in between. When a series is not finished, that is my biggest complaint, because
finish the series first.
Yes, my biggest. Okay, I have to fucking throw Patrick Rothfuss under the fucking bus, because he is the George R. R. Martin of my world, and That series is so good. It's $2. It's supposed to only be 3, but it's been like 15 plus years since book 2 came out.
Ugh.
Yeah, total George R. R.
Are you
Martin
ever getting
situation.
book 3?
What's that?
Are you ever going to get book 3?
I don't think so. And it's only supposed to be 1 book. Anyways, he's come out with like 2 or 3 little novellas. And I saw a Instagram post or something of him doing a signing at a bookshop for one of the novellas. And I read the comments, and all of the comments were like, can you just finish the series?
That's when you're just going to find some really good like fan fiction of somebody who finished it for him.
I feel like it's going to be a Steg Larson situation. Did you read The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo? So he died before the last book came out, but he had it all outlined. So someone else wrote it.
Oh, perfect.
Someone else finished it and put it out. And I'm like, you dumbasses, that's what's going to happen to your series is when you die and you haven't finished it, someone else is going to somehow
going to finish it for you.
Get your notes and finish it for you. And it's your piece of art. Why would you not want to be in control of that and put it out?
Yeah. Be like, why have you not finished? What's the reason? Are you stuck?
Yeah. Yeah. So Patrick Rothfuss, stop doing the novellas and please finish Name of the Wind.
Totally calling him out for that.
Anyways, okay, so Broken Dove, Silver Elite, highly recommend. I was texting Becky nonstop at the end of.
It was so funny. I felt like I was getting texts from my daughter because it was like all caps, just exclamations of things, and it was like one after another just coming at me, and I was just cracking up reading them as they came through because I was like, I felt exactly the same way you did while you were reading it.
It was just like at the end of the last like 10 chapters.
Oh yeah,
it was like. Boom.
It was wild at the end. Well, and I think I told you, like, I was reading it, again, thinking it was the end of the series, and I was, like, fully in it on my Kindle one day, and I wasn't paying attention to the percentage I had read, and I was like, I'm gonna read for, like, another hour, and then I gotta get ready for work, and I'm sitting there, and I'm reading it was so good, and I'm, like, blazing through it, and then all of a sudden I tapped it to change the page, and it was, like, rate this book, and I was like, wait, what? Well, no, it's not finished. And I was like, I needed like 5 minutes of just like, I was flipping back and forth, being like, that can't be the end of the book.
Yep. It was. Anyways, definitely recommend. Don't have any idea when book 3 is coming out, but
yeah, excellent series though. Very good.
Really good. Okay, so what did you just finish too?
I just finished Project Hail Mary. I did the audiobook at the recommendation of one of my clients. Highly recommend doing the audiobook version.
Yeah.
There's some cool stuff in it that like wouldn't come across the same way on a page that the way it comes across in the audiobook, but absolutely fantastic book. I so enjoyed it. There's a movie out now with like Ryan Gosling. I saw the movie too this weekend. The movie was pretty good. Definitely read the book first if you can.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of good stuff in the book that obviously had to get dropped out for the movie for time's sake. But there's some really cool details, and you'll, I think, enjoy the movie a little bit more knowing a lot of those backstory pieces. I kept like pausing it and filling Charlie in on like the pieces that were in the book that she missed.
Yeah. Yeah, it kind of sucks. I mean, I guess that's why they do a lot of series now, but then that can flop pretty hard too. So like trying to decide which way to do it. But yeah, I've heard great things about that. I heard great things about it before they were going to make a movie about it. And it's been on my list for forever. And it is a standalone, right?
It's a standalone, yeah. And I didn't realize it was the same author who wrote The Martian.
Oh, yeah.
And I never read that book, but I remember seeing the movie. I honestly didn't even know it was based on a book at the time, but the movie was great. So when I saw that, I was like, oh, that makes sense that it's the same author. Like, I see that. And he's had a few of his books made into movies. So he's had some good ones.
Yeah. I just know about The Martian, but I feel like there's probably more that he's done.
Yeah, he does a lot of sci-fi stuff. So I think I saw an interview with him. I think he said 3 out of his 4 books have been made into movies. So I don't remember what the third one was, but he's got a good track record with it. Yeah. But yeah, Project Hail Mary was fantastic. The characters are so fun in it. And very real characters, which I liked.
Yeah. And then you were also reading a sports romance, right?
Yes, it was like hockey, like college hockey romance series.
Which I think is such a funny genre that's emerging.
Yes, this weird like hockey romance genre that's emerging I think is hilarious. But one of my clients recommended one and I like checked it out and I was like, that was pretty good. And then I kind of went down a rabbit hole with a few of them. So that one was it's actually the it's on Amazon Prime right now, the TV series Off Campus.
Okay.
The series is terrible. Like, I don't understand why people are raving about the TV series. I genuinely don't. It's like Charlotte and I have been watching it, making fun of it the entire time. It's hilarious. It's so bad. But the books were decent. The books were pretty good. Like they weren't like amazing like showstopper books, but they were enjoyable and entertaining. So they're a good like easy light read, you know,
Yeah.
for some romance.
And so what's next?
I don't know what's next now. I'm kind of in like a gap. I gotta go through like my list of books and try and figure out what I want to get into. The problem is a couple of the ones I've had on my list for a while are series, but they're not finished. And I'm not doing another series that isn't finished. Because my rule is I like to get in at the end when it's already all written.
There are
like a cliffhanger for a year.
There are so many sequels coming out this year. Did you ever read Quicksilver?
I did.
Did you hear the news on that one?
I did not. What's up?
Book 3, the final book, was supposed to come out this fall, and she pushed it to next fall.
Oh, of course. Of course. See, this is why I don't do series that aren't finished. That was another one I think I read not knowing it was a series. I gotta pay more attention when I download books onto my Kindle and make sure like what I'm getting before I put them. Because every once in a while I get one that I didn't know was a series until I get to the end of it.
I think I have a couple one-offs that are supposed to be good and that are, I'll just tell you something that I added to my list. So The Poison Daughter is supposed to be amazing, and I believe it's a one-off.
I'm going to put that on my list right now. So if you see me typing, I promise I'm not being rude and ignoring you, but I'm adding it to my list.
And then
what is it called? The
Poison Daughter.
Got it.
And then Wild Reverence, I also believe is one-off. And then there's one that's a duology that I just added to my list that's called Crown Me Dead, and I'm pretty sure it's just the 2 books, but you may want to look into that to confirm.
First. I will research that first. Yeah, because a lot of people are talking about that Dungeon Crawler Carl series, but again, it's not finished, so I'm like, sorry.
It's not finished, but it's already like 8 books or 9 books or something.
No, it's a long one.
Yeah, but everybody's raving about it. Colin actually found book 1 in one of our little neighborhood libraries, so I have book 1 now.
Yes, there you go.
So at some point I'll get to it. I'm reading. Have you read any Brandon Sanderson?
I don't think so.
Yeah. So he's just like one of the more well-known like just fantasy authors now. So I'm reading his Mistborn series because Colin has raved about it and a couple of my other friends are raving about it. So I'm almost done with book 1. The magic system is so complicated in it. Mm-hmm. And I've heard he's a slow world builder, so that's sort of not my favorite. I sort of like when the authors jump right into the story and build as the story is like happening. I don't like a slow build. I get confused and bored and but this one's only a trilogy. And it is finished, but I am missing my spice. I am having spice withdrawals.
I think I told you need to read Heated Rivalry.
I know. I've heard that is real spicy.
It's so good. Yes, but excellent. And the TV series was actually really good too for that one. So they're both real good. So I think if you want spicy, Heated Rivalry is where it's at.
I'm a weirdo that looks at all the AI stuff on these book characters and stuff on Instagram. And something popped up on my suggestions of this book that's actually on my list. I can't remember the name of it. I'm looking. I think it's Anna something. Anna. I thought I had it. Now I can't find it. Maybe I need to look it up. Anna. Oh yeah, Anathema. Okay. The Eating Woods series. It's on Kindle Unlimited.
Oh, I have that.
Both book 1 and book 2 are on there. Don't know if it's done because I haven't read it, but anyways, the things that are popping up for that book on my Instagram, I'm like, how is this allowed on Instagram? So I am assuming the book is quite spicy just based on the things that are popping up on my feed.
Yeah, I don't know. I might do a nonfiction for my next book.
Ooh, which nonfiction are you thinking?
Breezing through my list, and I know it kind of triggered me to remember. My doctor has actually written a book on menopause. Oh, this is her second one, so I think I might grab that one if I can get it. Mm-hmm. Or I had a book on my list for a while because I think it's supposed to come out in June of this year. I got to double check online, but there was a guy I used to follow on TikTok all the time that was writing a book called Resistance History. Hold on, let me get the title right. Hold on, because I'm going to get it wrong off the top of my head. Where is he? Oh, God, now I can't find it.
I hate when that happens.
Sorry. A Resistance History of the United States, which he was fascinating to listen to. And his TikTok, so I think his book would be really good. And I love history, so I like to do history books sometimes too. I know that's not like your genre, but I love a good history book, so I get really into those too. So that one sounded super interesting. So I've been waiting for that one to come out so I can get that and read it.
Yeah, I feel like I don't know. I read to escape real life. So, but I feel like
Mhm.
listening to a historical something would be interesting.
Yeah, I like doing. Sometimes I'll do those on my Audible instead.
Yeah.
I did like when I did the 1619 project. I did that on Audible. I mean,
Yeah.
it was the longest Audible I've done. It took forever to get through. I think it was like 18 hours or something crazy.
Yeah.
But it was really interesting. And there's a podcast I listen to that's like history podcast that's called The Rest is History. That one's really good to listen to. Those guys are great because they break down like certain events in history and they'll do like series on certain topics. So like they did a series on Joan of Arc. It was
Okay.
fascinating.
Nice.
And they do like they had did a series on like Jack the Ripper and they like pull out different things. So that
Yeah.
one's really fun to listen to. Those
Yeah.
guys are really good.
When I was in the airport a couple weeks ago, I always just like to look at the books in the airport. I don't like to buy books in the airport because they
Dave does
tend to
that,
be
yeah.
so expensive, but I like to go look at them. Colin always sits in the stores and reads the magazines. He'll just stand there and read the magazine because he
Love
doesn't
that.
actually want to buy it. He just wants to
Right.
flip
But
through
he needs
it.
something to do.
I'm
Yeah.
like, is that even allowed? He's never been kicked out for
No
doing
one
that.
stopped
So,
him, so.
yeah. But anyways, this one caught my eye. That's I suppose, self-help book, but it's called The Meaning of Your Life. So I've been
Okay.
contemplating. I feel like that's appropriate for my
Hmm.
life right now. It's like
Yeah.
the tagline is finding purpose in an age of emptiness. Which sounds kind of
There you
dramatic.
go.
But me and Kim from Soul Tribe have been talking about maybe
Doing a
reading
read.
it together because we feel kind of
Nice.
in the same boat. But so that might
Yeah.
be my next like self-help book. But I've been kind of on a self-help like hiatus. I don't know.
Mm. I was for a while. I've been doing a lot of the fantasy books and the romance books. So I was like, I
Mhm.
think maybe I need to go back nonfiction for a little while
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then bounce back into fiction again.
Well, that's
So I
what a
think this
lot
can
of
be a great,
the romance fantasy have the same like,
the
flow.
same flow. Hmm.
Yeah, so that's why I decided to do the Brandon Sanderson one this time because it's just fantasy. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a love story within it, but it's not the romantasy. But yeah, I'm missing I like the spice. I'm gonna be
Yeah.
honest.
No, I totally enjoy those too. So I'm here for it. Like I said, heated rivalry. Get on that
Mhm.
one.
I know. The list is never ending, Becky.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, yeah. I do love memoirs, and it's been a minute since I read a memoir. That is the nonfiction I will read. Yeah, my in-laws just picked up Green Lights by Matthew McConaughey. Yeah. Yeah, the Audible's amazing. Yeah. Yeah. Cuz him like the way that he did the inflections on certain things and like writing it in his I never would have read it the way that he does it in the audiobook. So, yeah. Yeah, that one was a good one. That's one I want to do. I want to do this too. Okay. Mhm. Yeah. 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 Yeah, that's usually what the route I go if I go nonfiction is more memoir versus like history or something like that. So, yeah, so I have actually been this could be a whole other conversation, so we won't deep dive into this, but I'm going to throw this out there. I went to a private Christian elementary school. And I've actually been recently questioning the history I was taught in elementary school. And I guess that would be more like world history versus like US history. But yeah, because I struggled heavily in middle school and high school with history after that. I actually tried to do AP US. Well, this was US history, I guess. But my teacher told me that I needed to drop the class at the semester because I was doing so bad. Yeah. Yeah. So, Mhm. Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. No. No. Uh-huh. Hmm. Yeah. Hmm. Okay. Yeah. One of my friends was telling me she read a book. I need to ask her the name of this book because I've referenced it so many times and I would like to read it myself actually, but it was talking about how every like fourth generation does is a reset. Is that what it is? Yeah. She said it was super interesting and that yeah, like we're at I think Gen Z is maybe that fourth generation now or something of from the last reset. Yeah, so that would be really interesting to read. Like, that's not something that four generations is a lot of time. So to be able to like look at that and track that and find the patterns in it, I think would be super fascinating. So, yeah. 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 All right, so many books, everyone. Add to your list or throw me some suggestions because why not add more to my list? Literally not reading too many. I have a TBR bin on my shelves that of books that I haven't read yet. So, yeah. Yep. Yep. Well, we're going on our trip in the fall and I was talking to Alana about it and she's like, "You have so much car time." I'm like, "I need to remember to download so many audiobooks because then I can put my headphone in and I can still look around and see and I was like, "That's brilliant. I need to make sure I have a bunch of audiobooks loaded and ready to go." Yeah. I I do miss that. Like I don't miss my commute, but like I literally get like one polo in every time I go to work. Like I gotta get all my shit out of the car and then I'll come back when I'm in the salon. So, all right, friend. Well, this has been so fun. This is what I love. I love just having fun conversations. I hope it's just as interesting to people as, my traumatic episodes that I've done. But yeah, well, that should probably be okay from time to time. I probably shouldn't do the heavy shit all the time. Yeah. So thank you so much for coming on and doing this. Yeah, it was really fun. So, yeah, I guess everybody, thanks for listening, and we'll see you on the next episode.